Hello, friends. Welcome back to Love Wrestling. I am your host, Spencer Love. And, of course, you know the individual joining me today, a two-time Hall of Famer, the founder of Reality of Wrestling, a 35-time champion, an NXT commentator, and, of course, one of the coaches on WWE LFG, Booker T. It is good to see you, my friend. Thank you for the time today. How are you doing?
I'm feeling good, man. Just getting home from NXT, of course. But, man, I feel good. I'm living my best life these days.
I'm glad to hear, and thank you for the time. Like you're saying, if you're getting back from NXT, I'm assuming there's stuff going on with Reality of Wrestling that you've got. Thank you for the time today. It's certainly not an unclear schedule on your end, especially as we head into WWE LFG's Season 2 premiere taking place this Sunday, June 22nd. Unfortunately, I got to start her off on a bit of a negative note because I was hoping I was able to say a 36-time champion as we entered this. You had a winner in Jasper Troy that we're going to chat about, but unfortunately not the WWE LFG champion. So how are we planning on maybe changing that up for Season 2, Buck?
Season 1, I was a little too nice. You know what I mean? I think that's what it was. I think I was a little too nice, even though, I had my moments. But Season 2, I'm gonna really, really, really just let the hair down. I'm taking the gloves off. Like you said, Jasper Troy, he did a hell of a job. He went out there and he got the win for Team 5-time. And Undertaker, but he walked away with the championship. But I still feel like, as coach, I still walked away with the title. You know what I mean? Because Jasper Troy, I feel like I won. I won that thing. So Season 2, just rest assured the gloves are coming off of Team 5-time.
I was going to ask you, maybe, do you have a bit of a different approach for LFG versus Reality of Wrestling? Because knowing a few people who were training at the school there themselves, never heard a bad word about you, but maybe if you're letting the hair down a little bit, is that going to be a little bit more reticent of what you're doing with Reality of Wrestling? Or maybe is there a bit of a different approach when you're on A&E versus what you're doing at ROW?
I think it's definitely going to be coincide with what I'm doing with Reality of Wrestling. I remember one of my students, Ruthless Ryan Davidson, one of my top guys right now. I remember he told me, "Booker, why do you hate me so much?" Because I just rode him. But I rode him to bring the best out of him, and that's what I do with all of my pupils. With LFG, I'm going to ride these guys. I'm going to give it to them straight. I'm not going to sugarcoat it or anything like that. If you want that, you need to be on somebody. I don't want you on my team if that's what you're looking for, because guys, girls like that don't make it very far in this business.
You got to get hungry and forget your manners sometimes. But you said that some people are great at the in-ring aspect of things, but maybe not as good on the coaching end of things. You mentioned on the Hall of Fame podcast a couple of months ago. So I'm going to ask you to put yourself over a little bit, Booker, but what do you think makes you a great trainer?
Well, I remember being one of those kids. I think that's it more than anything. I remember being one of those kids with talent. I remember being, I always tell people I never played sports, right? In school or anything. But let me reiterate. That's really not true. I remember being on the track team, right? And I remember having to, jog, from, like miles and then back to the school and whatnot. I remember having to do that. And I remember being at the track meet, and it was hurdles. One guy couldn't run the hurdles, and they had to put somebody else in there. And I'm praying the coach would just put me in the game, because I knew I could have went out there and smoked everybody on that track. I knew I could have. Coach never gave me a chance. Never gave me a chance. I lost interest so quick in track. I never played any sports after that. I was that kid looking for a pat on the back. That kid that was looking for, man, you could do this. You could do this. Just go out there and get it done. I wanted, someone to push me, further than I could have ever pushed myself. And now I'm in that same position to be able to do the same thing with these kids. Sometimes I might tell a kid, hey, give me a nip up. Just take a bump and nip right back up to your feet. They say, I've never done that before. And I say, just try it. And then they go, boom, bang, they're back up to their feet, and they go, wow. And they never knew they could do it themselves. Sometimes
it's the belief in themselves. Yeah.
Got to be able to bring it out of them.
Now, I want to ask you, and we're going to jump around a bit here, but we've brought up reality of wrestling a couple of times. And one of the reasons that I certainly love the promotion and the training school, we're based here in Edmonton, Alberta. So talk to me a little bit about Gigi Rey and what you sort of saw in her. She's been down training with you for the better part of 3 years. Yes, we're based right outside of Millwood. So I'm going to ask the bias questions, Buck. I got to do what I got to do. But tell me a little bit about the matriarch of Millwoods and what you've sort of seen out of her in sort of the last 3, 4 years of her training with reality of wrestling.
You talking about the money?
The money.
Gigi Rey. No, man, she is awesome, man. She is so freaking awesome at what she does. She's definitely next level. She's ready for a WWE tryout right now, today. She could work with any female wrestler in the world right now. And that's not because of anything that I've done or anything. That's because of her hard work, determination. She's there. She's got her own training night with the girls at Reality Wrestling. She's working her butt off to get to that next level. As far as when you hear about people paying their dues, Gigi Rey is definitely has been on the money as far as that goes, and I've been putting her in the best positions I possibly can to actually get her there. So stay tuned. You're going to see Gigi Rey on the big screen very, very soon.
Well, and in my biased opinion as well, Buck, you probably should have already. If you're tuning into reality of wrestling consistently, you saw her tear it up against JC Jane a couple of months ago. I know it's not necessarily her match, but I know you've got Thea Hale coming in the next couple of months. So as a WWE ID school, having the opportunity to have these NXT stars come in that obviously you've been commentating over the last few years. How cool has that been for you, not only as an NXT commentator, but as the promoter of ROW to be able to earn these opportunities for some of your students?
I've been working on this. I've been working on this for 20 years. 20 years I've been working on this program as far as putting this together, as far as being able to give these guys a springboard, an opportunity of a lifetime, being able to work with talent that's perhaps a little bit better than you. That's the only way you're going to learn. So for my guys to get a chance to rub elbows, just like you just talked about, JC Jane, Gigi Rey, that's all by design. That's a showcase for Gigi Rey. JC Jane is everybody's gonna see her, but if they see JC, they're gonna see Gigi. They're gonna see that she can go toe to toe with somebody at that level. So for me, it's been so awesome, to have, Hank and Tank, Lexus King, Trick Williams, Thea Hales, and the list goes on and on and on. How many guys that we've had here? But it's amazing. It's amazing to see my dream come to fruition when I didn't even dream to be in this business. You know what I mean? But to be able to carry the tradition of a great man by the name of Paul Bosch, who wore this ring, is an honor for me. It really, truly is.
It's very cool, man. And obviously no stranger to partnerships on that end of things, but no stranger on the WWE side of things. How have you felt? It's now been a little bit more than the toes in the water as far as the partnership with TNA. You've seen that crossover with people like Joe Hendry and Fandango coming back to WWE a couple of months ago. Talk to me about your thoughts there, because obviously NXT has been a real big proponent of that, and vice versa, seeing some of your talent crossover as well too.
It's like, just say for instance, Trick Williams being the TNA world champion. For Trick Williams to have a world title under his belt at this stage of the game. And the thing is, TNA did that for him. TNA gave him the rub. People may look at it like it's vice versa, but I'm giving it to you straight right now, where the rub is really coming from with that right there, just that one right there alone. But I'm loving seeing the rejuvenation of TNA. I always felt like TNA could be a really, really good company with some direction, and I think this is the most direction that TNA has had in quite some time. I must say, not taking away anything that anybody else has ever done with TNA, but I think TNA right now is as hot as it's been in quite some time. I could be wrong on that. I know a lot of people are going to say, what is he talking about? But no, I'm looking at TNA right now, and it's blossoming. I think if we could get the ladies division up like it was when it was the Knockouts division, back in the day, I think they'll really be smoking. I'm like crazy. That's just my opinion.
There's been a lot of crossover. We may be on the precipice of seeing a Booker T reunion with TNA coming up here sooner rather than later.
I might go over and call one of Trick Williams' matches. That's gonna be it. You're not gonna see Black Snow back in the ring doing
Hitting
anything.
him with the big pump kick.
Stalking somebody. That's not, that's not gonna happen, But no, man, I had a great time in TNA for my 2 years out there, and I really had a really great time in TNA. I just wish I could have did more for the young guys.
I won't disagree with you on TNA being hotter than ever, but to be quite honest with you, Booker, one of my favorite episodes of TNA Impact is that main event Mafia gimmick that you guys did a couple of years ago. I have to ask you about the commentary there with Chet Lemon or Kevin Nash, as maybe a couple more people might know him. How did that come about? And then
Oh my
might be a
God.
dumb question, Book, but how much of that sort of stuff is planned versus how much is that just Booker T being Booker T, you know?
That was a lot of that was Booker T being Booker T, but I always wanted to do commentary and beat the guy up at the same time. And we took over the show. Remember Mafia took over the show that night. So, man, I had a chance to do it. We were doing commentary. I mean, we were acting stupid. Everything was it was so stupid, right? Because I had to do traffic and everything. That's like going into commercial breaks and everything. And I didn't know how to do any of that. And I was just making it up as I was going. And I go, at the end of the day, I go, I'm pretty good at this. But no, man, it was a moment. That's what wrestling is at their moments, And I always say I had some cool moments in TNA, but I I wish, like I tell these kids, I talk to my LFG kids. I wish I would have worked harder. I
Mhm.
really wish I would have worked harder and pushed myself a little bit harder. I got frustrated and totally took myself out of the game. Never take yourself out of the game. I just wish I would have worked a little bit harder in TNA.
And makes sense. And as we start to wrap it up, I got a couple more quick ones here for you. You talked about moments there, and you talked about the commentary end of things. Trick Williams, I think, is someone that a lot of people associate your commentary with right now. But La Primera has been tearing it up here through her time in WWE and NXT as well too. Obviously, the talent's there, but WWE and professional wrestling is all about virality in a lot of ways. So, how does it feel that some of your commentary maybe helped a little bit on Stephanie Vaquer's end?
That's my job. It's like a movie. I'm the soundtrack, and I try to make it feel a certain way. One thing about wrestling is watching it is one thing, but feeling a certain way when you watch it is totally different. And just the give you a certain feel when she does it. And it makes you. It's like Harlem Heat's music when we come out. Our music, endeared us to everyone when we came out of that curtain. That's why I kept it from a singles wrestler all the way through my career, because it made you feel a certain way. And I think that's what I added with Stephanie Vaquer and, with Trick Williams, the ad libs, it makes you feel a certain way. It makes him feel a certain way when he get in the ring. I can see he feels a certain way when he get in the ring and he goes, yeah, yeah, oh yeah. I see him do it. I go, oh, we got something here. So for me, it's amazing. It's amazing to be able to be able to give these guys a little bit of what we call the rub,
Mhm.
and they take it and go to the next level. No bread, no water, just me. You know what I mean? So it's cool, man. It's actually really, really cool.
Book, I got two more for you. One is going to be completely out of left field before we bring it back to WWE LFG, because here on Love Wrestling, we do run a monthly trivia show. And last month, we came up with a real interesting question, and one that I want to ask you about. What do you remember about your time filming Charmed with Buff Bagwell and Scott Steiner?
Alyssa Milano.
And Booker TV
because
and Booker T.
because she said to me, she goes, "Wow, she said, how long have you been doing this?" And I go, professional wrestling. She goes, "No, the acting thing." I go, "Well, I really don't do this." She goes, "Well, you should do it." She goes, "You have really great timing." And I go, "Wow." Coming from Alyssa Milano, I still remember that to this day vividly, like it was yesterday, her telling me I have great timing to do television. And I was like, wow, so that's what I remember the most about that scene in that show, and being a part of Charms was Alyssa Milano being so nice to me, on the set.
It's always cool to hear. Never meet your heroes until you meet some of your great heroes. You know what I mean? And I can certainly vouch on that one today, Booker. Thank you so much for the time. Before we close it out, of course, WWE LFG premiering season 2 this Sunday, June 22nd. You've got 2 returning guest coaches and 1 brand new guest coach in Michelle McCool. But I know you're coming for that title. So any final words to your upcoming competition?
Well, they call me Booker straight down the middle T. That's what they call me, right? I'm just hoping the new edition is one that's going to call it straight down the middle, not going to lean one way or the other. That's what I'm hoping more than anything. But even more so than that, season 2, it doesn't matter. I'm winning. I'm winning anyway. I can't lose. They can shoot me, but they can't kill me. That's a quote from Training Day. Denzel Washington. But my thing is, I'm taking the gloves off in season 2. No plan, no jiving, just business. Team 5 Time will be standing tall at the end of season 2. I promise you that.
The next time we chat, Booker, I am very, very excited to introduce you as that 36-time champion I was hoping for. But most importantly, I wanted to say thank you for the time. It means a lot that you took it out when you've got so much on your plate as is, that you'd hop on and spread a little bit of love. No pun intended.
I appreciate you, bro. Most definitely.
Thank you, Booker. I very, very much appreciate it. And thank you to all of you who are tuning in here today. If you haven't liked, if you haven't subscribed yet, I don't know why. We got the 2-time Hall of Famer and a ton of great guests coming up here in the near future. So thank you, Booker T. And thank you to A&E for helping facilitate this one. We'll catch you on the next one, friends.
Ooh.